Welcome to this video post from Fields Capital Strategies. In this presentation today, we will discuss the power of a properly structured budget for your personal finances. Let's begin by asking ourselves this question. What has more impact on our wealth accumulation? Higher returns on our investments, or putting more dollars into those investments through our savings? Let's use the following amounts for our discussion today. Gross household earnings of $70,000. Now, of course, gross earnings is before any taxes or withholdings come out of our paycheck. Let's also assume this household is saving $5,000 of the $70,000 gross. So, if we are earning $70,000 and saving $5,000 of that amount, can we not conclude that we are spending $65,000 per year on taxes, food, clothing, shelter, giving, transportation, etc.? That $65,000 of our money is being spent somewhere. So, let's also assume we are earning 5% on our savings. That 5% would relate to $250 in earnings, in interest, or appreciation in our savings or investment each year. Now, when we consider the power of budgeting for our personal finances, what if we reduced our spending by just 1%? That's 1% of the $65,000 we are spending, or $650 for the year. That's basically a little over $50 per month. If we take that $650 and put it into our savings, we have effectively increased our return by 13%. for a total return of 18% for the year. That's 5% from the investment and 13% we paid ourselves. And we would never miss the $50 a month we cut from our spending, most likely. So, what has the larger impact on our wealth creation? How about higher returns through our increased savings? Now, let's apply the power of budgeting to the recapture of lost money. And what is lost money, and how do we recapture it? Well, let's continue with the previous assumptions. $70,000 in gross income, we're saving $5,000 annually, and we're earning 5% on those savings. Let's say we have 15% withheld in taxes, and we spend 35% of our money on living expenses, food, clothing, shelter, and such. We're spending 30% of our gross income toward paying off our debt. That's our mortgage, our car loans, credit cards, and so forth. And we are saving 7%, which is what $5,000 is. So, we can identify 87% of the money we spend each year. But that leaves 13%, or $9,100 of our expenditures that represent missing or lost money. That's about $175 per week we spend on the average that we couldn't tell you at the end of the year where that money was spent or where it went. Now, what if we recaptured part of this identified and unidentified spending through a budget? Let's say we reduce the taxes we have withheld to 12%. That reduces our spending by 3%. And let's say we cut 2% from our living expenses, from 35% down to 33%. And we can reduce our debt payments, let's say, to 27% of our income and save 3% there. Now, we won't cut any of our savings. We will leave that at 7%. And then let's say we cut the unidentified or lost money we spend to 9%. We're going to save 4% there in this unidentified money through the budget process. That would mean we have recaptured 12% or $8,400 of our spending through the power of a budget. Now, if we move this recaptured money that we found through our properly structured budget into our savings, we have increased our annual savings by 168%. Now we're saving $13,400 a year rather than $5,000 a year. Without a budget implemented into your personal finances, you are spending money that could and should be working for you. And that working for the building, the creation of your wealth. That's why if you don't have a plan to manage your spending, and that plan is a budget, then you are losing the opportunity to build your wealth. So, let's look at a couple of examples how you can recapture your lost money and begin building your wealth. Let's talk about taxes first and ask ourselves, is a tax refund in our best interest financially? In 2013, the average tax refund was $2,755, and over 109 million returns received a refund out of over 148 million total returns filed. That's 74% of all returns received a refund. Now, we as U.S. citizens have effectively given Uncle Sam a $301 billion interest-free loan. And that is lost opportunity cost to each of us. That is money that should be and could be working for us that we are allowing to work for Uncle Sam. And what's sad? Most of us brag about the size of the tax refund we get each year. So, let's run a tax return on the assumed values we've been using. That's $70,000 in income with $12,500 in deductions and $15,600 in exemptions, for a total taxable income of $41,900. Now, taxes on that amount at the current rates is $6,400. And let's say we had $8,500 withheld from our paycheck. That would result in a tax refund of $2,100, well within the range of the national average of $2,700. And a $2,100 refund is 3% of our gross income. And that is the amount we wanted to recapture from our taxes in the previous slide. So, how do we recapture this $2,100 instead of allowing Uncle Sam to use it? Well, we adjust our withholding amount from our paycheck, and we do this by filing a new W-9 form at work to reduce your withholdings by about $175 each month. Then, we take the extra $175 each month that we find in our net paycheck, and we withhold it ourselves straight to savings. Do not spend that money, that recaptured money, that found money. Do not spend it. Your goal should be to adjust your federal withholding so that when you file your return each year, you owe Uncle Sam nothing and Uncle Sam owes you nothing. And what you have done is recaptured this lost or delayed money, and you put it to work for you. Now, if you are set on getting that refund each year, at the very least, take every dollar of that refund and put it directly into savings. And again, do not spend that money. Put it to work for you. Next, let's look at recapturing some of our living expenses. This is where the power of a well-structured budget is really effective, because there are so many areas that allow us to save money in regard to our regular monthly expenses. So, let's talk about our grocery shopping habits, for example. And let's apply 3 strategies to our food cost. Strategy number 1. Make a list. Never go to the grocery store for your main shopping trip without first making a shopping list. And don't buy anything that is not on the list. We all end up buying items we see as we go up and down the aisle. And how many times do we not then use those items when we get home? I know personally, our cabinets have had cans and boxes of food that were there for months, and we ended up throwing it away or sending it to the food pantry at church because we never used it. Now, that is the perfect example of lost money. Simply put, plan your shopping. Open your cabinets, your refrigerator, and your freezer before you go to the store and list what you need. And then stick to the list. This will help us keep our grocery expense down and stop us from just buying what we see. Also, as a side note, never, ever go to the store hungry. You will always buy food you don't need. So, step number 1, make a list. Step number 2, set an amount. Budget how much money you will spend to feed your family. And don't go over that amount. Have you ever gotten to the checkout and said, "Whoa, wait a minute, I can't believe how much money I've spent"? Now, this goes hand in hand with making the list, knowing how much items on your list will cost and creating your list based on the amount you have budgeted to spend. This will reduce what you spend for groceries drastically each year. So, We're going to make a list. We're going to set or budget an amount to spend. And the third strategy is wait an extra day or more before you go to the store. If you normally, let's say, go to the grocery once a week, say every Wednesday, every 7 days, when you think you need to go, or when you normally go, wait at least 1, 2, or even 3 days before you go to the store. You probably have enough food in your pantry to feed yourselves for those extra days. And by waiting, you reduce the number of times each year you go shopping, thereby reducing how much you are spending by making a list, setting an amount, and then waiting an extra day or so before you go. Now let's look at this chart, which will demonstrate the potential savings that following these 3 steps can make. We shop for groceries once a week. That's 52 main shopping trips per year we go to the grocery store. And let's assume we budget $250 per trip. That's $13,000 each year we are spending on regular grocery shopping, not counting the times we stop for milk and bread and other items, just main shopping trips each year, 52 of them. Let's wait just 1 day. Let's go shopping every 8 days instead of every 7 as we've been doing. And let's spend the same $250 each trip. By waiting an extra day, we have reduced our total trips per year from 52 to 46. And we have saved $1,500 for the year. That has reduced our food expense by 12% for the year. And what if we wait 2 days and shop every 9 days? That reduces our shopping trips to 41 from 52 for the year, and our savings amount increases to $2,750. That's 21% of your previous food expense each year. And if you wait 3 days, you will only go shopping 37 times that year. You'll save 29% or $3,750 in groceries for the year. Now, the savings we have made by making a list, by setting an amount, and waiting just 1 extra day before going to the grocery store, that $1,500 in savings, it results in a 2.1% reduction in our overall $70,000 budget. And you add the second day, that will increase your recaptured money to almost 4%. And you add a third day, it's over 5%. And that is real money that can be and should be working for you and not lost forever. So, by implementing a properly structured budget and following the plan, we can see how a reduction in taxes of 3% is possible, and how managing our food purchases can reduce our living expenses by 2% with just groceries alone. Imagine what we can do with clothing, with utilities, insurance, automobiles, and so forth. We can also reduce our debt payments, and we can reduce that missing money the same way by applying the power of a budget. And when we increase our savings by $13,400 per year, after 20 years of doing this, our savings would grow to over $450,000 at 5%. and it would grow to over $900,000 after 10 more years of applying the power of a budget and saving. Now, how would $500,000 to $1 million at retirement affect you? Simply stated, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. That quote is from the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey and makes a lot of sense. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Now, to implement the power of budgeting or any strategy we recommend, it will require a change in your thinking, a paradigm shift. That's a fundamental change in your approach or underlying assumptions. In Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover, he said, "Change is painful. Few people have the courage to seek out change. Most people won't change until the pain of where they are exceeds the pain of change." Are you willing to change your approach to money management? Are you ready to start telling your money where to go rather than wondering where it went? Then let's get started with a budget. If you need help with structuring your budget or where to place your savings, contact us at Fields Capital Strategies. We would love to share more of these strategies and concepts with you today. Thank you for watching this video post. Please subscribe, comment, share this video, or follow the link below for more information. We hope to see you next time here on Fields Capital Strategies.